So today we are going to study about the income and expenditure account. As already mentioned, this account is just like final accounts. Only difference being that the profit and loss account is made for those companies who have profit as a motive. However, for NPOs who do not have profit as a motive, income and expenditure account is made. So what is the definition of income and expenditure account? Income and expenditure account is prepared at the end of the accounting period, matching the revenue receipts with revenue expenses to determine the surplus or deficit. You have to be very careful in this. Income and expenditure account, only the revenue expense and revenue income is mentioned. In the receipts and payments account, we also mentioned the capital expenses and income. But this account is made with the purpose of matching whatever revenue expenses we are making and whatever revenue income we are getting. We match those two. So this is the purpose of that account. Now what are the features or the characteristics of income and expenditure account? Number one, what is the nature of this account? This account is nominal account in nature. Okay. Second is the basis of accounting. The basis of accounting is accrual basis of accounting. I am sure you all must have understood or studied in the 11th standard on what is accrual basis of accounting. Accrual basis of accounting is basically whatever income or expenses has accrued in this accounting period, that is shown. Whether we have received the income or not, whether we have paid that expense or not, it would come into the income and expenditure account. So this basis of accounting is accrual basis of accounting. We will put all the expenses and all the incomes relating to this accounting year, whether we have paid it or not, or whether we have received it or not. Then third is your accounting period. As already mentioned, the accounting period, we are concerned with only this accounting period. We are not concerned about the previous years or the current years. Next point is your opening and closing balances. In the receipt and payment account, we were showing all the opening and closing balances of cash and bank. However, in income and expenditure account, we do not show any opening or any closing balance. We just put the revenue expenses and the revenue income. Whatever is left over, that surplus or deficit is carried over to the balance sheet. Right? The next part is your adjustments. In receipts and payment account, there was no adjustments. However, in income and expenditure account, all the adjustments have to come. So whether any outstanding, whether any prepaid, any depreciation, all these adjustments have to be done in the income and expenditure account. Good morning, students. So today we are going to start with the topic of income and expenditure account. Receipt and payment account is already over. Now since we have completed the theory of income and expenditure account, let us start with the numericals. So as we all know now, income and expenditure account is prepared on accrual basis. Very important is, see, receipt and payment account, how we prepared was that it was based according to cash coming in or going out. We didn't bother whether the cash payment or the cash receipts that we were getting was related to this year or the previous year or the next year. However, in income and expenditure account, we will always maintain everything for this current accounting period. Any payment, any receipt which does not relate to this accounting year should not be a part of income and expenditure account because it's prepared according to accrual basis. So even if you have certain outstanding amount which you have not received or which you have not paid, those items also form a part of income and expenditure account. Another thing which is very important is that over here nothing of capital nature comes. In receipt and payment account, we had revenue plus capital nature of transactions coming. However, in this income and expenditure account, we show only revenue nature. There is no opening balance, there is no closing balance. All that things was a part of receipt and payment account. Over here, only thing that we will be left after putting all the income and all the expenses is surplus or deficit. Just like how we prepared profit and loss account in final accounts, there we named it as profit or loss. But as you all know, in NPO, there is no profit, there is no loss. Whatever is left is the surplus, because that amount is reinvested back in the organization. It is not considered as profit where we distribute it to the shareholders like in other companies where the profit earning is a main motive. So now coming to income and expenditure account, one small thing, the account's name is income and expenditure account, but it is expenditure on the debit side and income on the credit side. Then what are the expenses that we are making would be all coming over here. Whatever is the expenses of the organization, like salaries which it is paying, the rent which it is paying, the insurance premium that it pays. Apart from this, there are many other things also which forms a part of your expenditure. For example, our audit fees, the honorarium which we pay. I have already explained on what is honorarium in the last video. Printing and stationery, telephone expense, depreciation, then any loss on sale of fixed asset, and all those other things, basically the items which used to come in the profit and loss account. Then in the income side, what are the things that we are going to put? In the income side, the main income for a NPO is what? The subscriptions. Then subscriptions, it could be loans, donations, legacy. In this donations, the general donations form a part of income and expenditure account, while specific donations, I have already explained in the first video, do not form part of the income and expenditure account. We will do this part in detail in the later videos. Apart from that, legacy also, it's general legacy. If the legacy is also specific, it does not form part of income and expenditure account. Why? Because that is capital in nature. It is not considered as revenue. In income and expenditure account, we only put items which is considered as revenue in nature. Apart from this, if you sold off any asset and you made a profit on that, so to profit on sale of asset, rent, of course it is rent received, the rent that you pay forms a part of your expenditure, the rent that you are receiving forms a part of your income. So these are the basic things which comes in income and expenditure account. One of the most important things which I am going to discuss today, which is going to rest all your doubts, is this outstanding in advance, in the beginning, at the end. A lot of these students come to me that ma'am, how to remember this part, because outstanding in the beginning, outstanding at the end, we just mug it up, minus, plus, minus, this is straight, that is opposite. Please do not confuse yourself so much. Do not. This is accounts. You need to understand the concepts on why we are doing and what we are doing. Without conceptual clarity, trust me guys, it's no use studying accounts. You cannot just mug up and pass your exams. And even if you do that, imagine after 12th, you would not be remembering anything what you studied in accounts. Basics has to be clear, the concepts have to be clear, and it's extremely simple. So let's come to this. I'll be explaining you this adjustments. Why outstanding at the end and what is outstanding in the beginning. Now let's take an example. Supposing there is something called outstanding and there is something called advance. Now, one thing is at the beginning, at the end. Now, what is outstanding and what is advance? Outstanding, as all of you know, is the amount which is pending and which we need to pay or which we need to receive. It's still not done. It's pending. Like for example, my teaching staff has still not received the salary of the previous month, right? So it's an outstanding salary for my books. Correct? Now, there are some students who were supposed to pay the fees previous month, but they have yet not paid it till this month. So what happens? That is my outstanding fees for me. Okay? Because the work has been done, the service has been completed, it has been provided. However, the money has not come in or the money has not gone out. Alright, that is your outstanding. Now, advance. For the next month, I have already paid the advance salary. The service is yet to be provided. However, I have already paid the salary. That is salary already paid in advance. Similar thing for fees. Generally, all the coaching institutes, what we do, we charge the fees in advance. So when the student has already paid for the entire year fees and we are yet to provide the service, that is known as fees received in advance. Okay. Now, coming back to the topic. For example, I have paid a salary in the previous year of say 1,50,000. How much salary have I paid in the previous year? I saw in my cash book, I saw in my receipt and payment account that the salary that I have paid is 1,50,000. However, the salary of that staff was only 10,000 per month. So actually, how much was the salary of the previous year? 1,20,000, right? 10,000 into 12, 1,20,000 was the salary. But I have paid how much? 1,50,000. Now, this 30,000 which I have paid extra, this 30,000 which I have paid extra is the advance salary. Are you all getting me? It is the advance salary which is not connected to this year. So this 30,000 is the advance which I have paid in the beginning of the year or basically in the previous year. Now this 30,000 needs to be added. Why added? Because does it relate to the previous year? No, it does not relate to the previous year. It relates to this accounting year. This salary 30,000 extra which was paid in the previous year actually relates to the service of this current accounting year. Hence we need to add that advance in the beginning. Alright. Now supposing this year gets over. The year got over on say 31st of March 2018. Okay. Now you have paid this 30,000 when the year is ending. Okay. So when the year is ending, you paid this advance of 30,000. That advance is towards the end. Right. So for 1st April 19, it was advance in the beginning, but for the previous year, what it was advance at the end. Now the advance salary which you are paying towards the end of the accounting year, does that relate to this year? Does that relate to this year? No. So what you have to do, you have already paid it. What you need to do is now is subtract. That advance which you have paid this year does not relate to the service of this year. Does it relate to the service of this year? No, it relates to the service of the next year. So what do you need to do? You need to subtract that amount. Because in income and expenditure account, we are only putting the figures which is concerned with this accounting year. Alright. Now the same thing coming to outstanding. I'll explain you with the same example. We'll change the figures. Now, for example, your salary is 1,20,000. Alright. This salary of 1,20,000 which you have paid includes 20,000 outstanding of previous year. Okay. So I am paying my staff 1,20,000 salary. However, in that 1,20,000, 20,000 I have paid was outstanding from previous year. Previous year I did not pay her 20,000. So this year I am paying her because it was outstanding from previous year. So does this 20,000 relate to the services of this year? Yes or no? No, right? This 20,000 relates to the services of previous year. So should it come in our thing? It should not come. So we have to reduce it. Because outstanding at the beginning needs to be reduced since it does not relate to the services of this year. Same thing. Now this year is going to end. I have paid the salary of say 1 lakh and 20,000 is still outstanding. I have not paid her 20,000. I am going to pay her maybe next year. But that outstanding amount, although I have not paid her, does it relate to the service of this year? Yes. That person has done the service, it relates to the service of this year, although we have not paid her, hence it should be added. So, this is an extremely simple concept. Anything which is related to the services of this year should be coming in income and expenditure account. Anything which is not related to the service of this year does not come in the income and expenditure account. So, outstanding at the beginning will be reduced. Why? Because it is related to the services of the previous year. But outstanding at the end will be added, although you have not paid the person, but still the services has been provided, hence it should be added. Next thing, advance. Now advance you have already paid in the beginning, right? But that advance which you have carried forward from the previous year, you have already paid in the beginning. In the previous year you already paid. It is relating to the services of this year. Hence it has to be added. You are not paying in this year. You have already paid because it is advanced from the beginning. But it has to be added because it is related to the services of this year. Similarly, advance at the end. You are paying the advance at the end. You are not going to get the service of this year. You will get the service next year. Hence, it should be subtracted because it does not relate to the services of this year. I hope this part is clear with all of you. Please don't just mug it up, understand it conceptually. Now, over here also if you see two salaries, whatever is the salary that has been paid, in that you have to add whatever was outstanding at the end and reduce whatever was outstanding in the beginning. Similarly, add advance in the beginning and reduce the advance at the end. Now the understanding for prepaid and postpaid. Okay. Any expenses which you have already prepaid, what should you do? You should reduce it. Why? Because it does not relate to this year. For example, to insurance premium. To insurance premium, certain amount you have already paid, but say you have already paid certain amount in advance. Okay, you were supposed to pay for 12 months, but you paid it for 15 months, for example. So that prepaid insurance should be subtracted. Because this does not relate to this year. However, if it is outstanding, what would you do? Yes, you are right. You would add it. Why do you add outstanding? You have not paid, but still it is relating to the services of this year. Hence, it should be added. I hope you are clear with this income and expenditure account concept. The numericals we would be doing towards the end. Thank you.